Speaking of the VAT laws in some other states, for Gujarat and UP, in addition to the VAT percentage, an additional tax is charged on item assessable value, similar to how VAT is charged. When the state is selected as Gujarat or UP in the company creation screen, additional tax will be enabled, and the same can be defined either at the company level or at the ledger level as per business requirement. Similarly, cess is applicable in Kerala. When the state is selected as Kerala in the company creation screen, cess can be defined either at the company level or at the ledger level as suitable for a business. Cess, unlike additional tax, is charged on VAT value and not on item assessable value. Let us see how this requirement has been handled in Tally.ERP9.
In this scenario, let us see how to record a sales transaction which involves additional tax as in the case of Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh, or cess in case of Kerala. Let's create a company with state selected as Gujarat. Click F11 Features and then click Statutory and Taxation. Set the option Enable Value Added Tax VAT to Yes, and also enable the option Set or Alter VAT Details. Enable Set or Alter Tax or Rate Details. Enter the tax rate as 5% and additional tax as 1%. Accept the company VAT details screen. Let's see how to create a ledger for additional tax. Select Duties and Taxes. Select Additional Tax as the type of duty or tax. Save the ledger. Let us now record a sales transaction for which additional tax is also applicable. In the voucher creation screen, let's select the party's account name, select the sales ledger, and select the stock item. Enter the quantity and rate. Select the VAT ledger and select the ledger for additional tax. Click A Tax Details and then click F1 Detailed. We can see that the additional tax amount is calculated at 1% as specified in the company VAT details screen. Similarly, you can record transactions with additional ledgers for the state of Uttar Pradesh also. Now let's see how a transaction with cess is recorded for Kerala. Let's create a company with state selected as Kerala. Click F11 Features and then click Statutory and Taxation. Set the option Enable Value Added Tax VAT to Yes, and enable the option Set or Alter VAT Details. Enable Set or Alter Tax or Rate Details. Enter the tax rate as 14.5% and cess as 1%. Save the company VAT details screen. Let's see how to create a ledger to record cess. Select cess as the type of duty or tax and save the ledger. Let us now record a sales transaction for which cess is applicable. Select the party, select the sales ledger, and select the stock item. Enter the quantity and rate. Select the VAT ledger and the ledger for cess. Click A Tax Details and then click F1 Detail to view the report in detailed mode. We can see that the cess amount is calculated at 1% as specified in the company VAT details screen.
So we have seen how simple it was to enable VAT for the 3 states. based on the state specified at the company level. Appropriate options are displayed in F11 features. All we need to do is enable VAT, define the applicable rates, and pass transactions to see VAT getting appropriately calculated. Simple. This is again a state-specific scenario, which is easily handled in Release 5.1. In the state of Chandigarh, notional input tax credit is allowed by the state's Commercial Tax Department on purchases that you have done from exempted units. Exempted units may or may not charge VAT in their bills. However, as a dealer, when you sell those goods you can claim ITC up to 4%. So, let us see how to book a notional ITC transaction in Tally.ERP9 Release 5.1.
Let's create a company with a state selected as Chandigarh. Click F11 Features and then click Statutory and Taxation. Set the option Enable Value Added Tax VAT to Yes. Enable the option Set or Alter VAT Details. Enable the option Set or Alter Tax or Rate Details. Enter the tax rate and save the company VAT details screen. Let's create a stock item. Notice that I'm not making any changes to the option Set or Alter VAT Details. Let's create a ledger for notional input tax credit under Duties and Taxes. Select VAT as a type of duty or tax and set the option Use for Notional ITC to Yes. Save the Notional ITC ledger. Now let's record a purchase invoice. I have already created the respective party, purchase and VAT ledgers. Enter the supplier invoice number and the date. Select the party account. Select the purchase ledger and the stock item. Enter quantity and rate. Select the VAT ledger and save the voucher. Now let's book a notional ITC entry. Press F7 Journal. Press J Stat Adjustment. Select VAT as a type of duty or tax and select Notional Input Tax Credit as the nature of adjustment. Select Non-Capital Goods for additional details. Select Notional ITC from the list of ledger accounts. Specify the rate of VAT and the assessable value and enter the amount of notional ITC. Credit the expense ledger and save the journal. Your notional ITC entry is booked. Click Display, Statutory Reports, VAT. Click VAT Form 15. As you can see, the notional ITC entry shows in the triangulation report with the value.
So we have seen how easy and simple it is to book a notional ITC entry. All you need to do is create a notional ITC ledger, and then claim the notional ITC of purchases using a journal voucher. That's it. Now we turn our attention to the fresh new report of Release 5.1, the Tax Rate Setup Report. This is a tool that has been provided for our existing users, who will migrate their data from 4.93 or prior release to Release 5.0 or 5.1. Now, in the process of data migration, the VAT details, VAT commodity details, and VAT rates will not be migrated to the latest release. This is exactly where the new tax rate setup report comes into play. It will assist users to smoothly configure the VAT details, commodity name, code and VAT rates for stock groups or stock items in Release 5.1. Now let us see this powerful capability in action.
The tax rate setup tool is used after migration of data from releases prior to 5.0 to release 5.1. This tool is displayed only when the data is from a release prior to 5.0 migrated to release 5.1, and this is not displayed when the data or a company is created directly in release 5.0 and above. Also, this is not displayed for an accounts only data. The tax rate setup tool also helps configure tax rates and excise tariffs of existing items in release 5.1. If there are multiple stock items, it's very easy to configure rates and tariffs for all of them from one screen. For the purposes of this demo, I'm using sample data migrated from release 4.93. Let's take a quick look at the migrated data. From Gateway of Tally, go to Inventory Info, Stock Item, Alter. Select all items. In the multiple stock item alteration screen, note that VAT rates have not been migrated to 5.1. They have not been migrated automatically because the user has the flexibility of defining them at the company or stock group level, which will be inherited by all the stock items. Let's understand how to migrate or configure the stock items in Release 5.1 with the help of the Tax Rate Setup tool. From Gateway of Tally, go to Inventory Info, Tax Rate Setup, and VAT. As you can see, this report will display stock items based on their VAT classifications. Stock items with no rates found are also displayed. Let's switch the view to Group Wise by clicking F5 Group Wise. Group A has an asterisk. This is because it has stock items with multiple VAT classifications. Further down, Item B also has an asterisk against it. Press Shift Enter. You can see that this stock item was transacted with multiple VAT rates, that is 12.5 and exempted. 12.5 being the latest rate, this item is displayed under the 12.5% classification. Now let's start configuring the stock items in Release 5.1. The available set of VAT details are displayed on the left under Previous Rate Configuration. The masters that you will configure using the Tax Rate Setup report will be displayed on the right under Current Rate Configuration. Navigate to Item D, press the space bar to select the stock item, and press Alt-D, Alter Group. From the screen, the stock group for the item can be changed. Alternatively, instead of moving to any existing group, you can also create a new group by pressing Alt-C. Let's select Group F and save the screen. Next, we will define the VAT details at the stock group level. For this, let's move Item E to Group F. Select Item E and click Alt-T, Alter Group. Select Group F and save the screen. Navigate to the stock group, Group F. Select the group and click Alt-S, Set Rate. Specifying the VAT details at the group level and saving the screen will effect the changes to all stock items under this group. If commodity details have been enabled by enabling the option in F12 Configure, the Helper tool can be used. Click Ctrl-C Helper. The Helper tool has a list of searchable commodities and their respective commodity codes. So a commodity can be selected from this list to have the commodity code displayed automatically. Select Letters and enter tax rates. To view the list of previously used VAT rates, click Alt-L Details. The VAT rate detail screen has a dual purpose. If a stock item has been transacted with different VAT details, This information is displayed. Also, if different VAT rates have to be specified with different dates of applicability, this can be specified here. Now let's come back to the Set VAT Details screen and save it. As you can see under Current Rate Configuration, we have configured Stock Group F in Release 5.1. Details under the previous rate configuration is left as is. Now let's see how we can define VAT rates at the stock item level. To define VAT details for a single item, select the stock item 3 and click Alt-S Set Rate. Based on the available details, the VAT details screen will be auto-populated. Just press Ctrl-A to accept. Now, the stock item has been configured in Release 5.1. Similarly, you can set the rates for multiple stock items by selecting them with the spacebar. This can be done for stock groups as well.
So as you have seen how simple the new tax rate setup tool is, and how easily it lets you configure the VAT details for your stock items and stock groups. Moreover, with this particular tool, you can be confident that your VAT details are correctly configured as per the latest release, and that you will not encounter any errors at the time of entering transactions. With the ready-to-use tool, you can now enjoy the flexibility of defining the VAT details at the company level or at the stock group level. Now let us see the powerful capability of triangulation. Check status. In Release 5.0, the VAT report form VAT 100 has been designed in such a way that the user can identify transactions included for generating the VAT return, transactions excluded because they are not relevant, and transactions about which Tally is uncertain as to what to do because there is missing information or possible errors. This concept is called triangulation because of these three aspects. Drill down. The user can drill down into each type, included, excluded, and uncertain, and be assured of the correctness of information. Corrective actions. In the uncertain bucket, Tally gives the different reasons for errors, or missing information. The user can go directly into the masters, or transactions, and correct the errors, or provide the missing information. This results in 100% correct return, giving confidence of a hand-prepared return. Now let us see this powerful capability in action.
To see the power of this capability, let's make some errors. I can alter or create a ledger with the state selected as not applicable. In a sales transaction, I can change the VAT amount manually. Let's see how this affects the triangulation report. From Gateway of Tally, click Display, Statutory Reports, VAT, and click Form VAT 100. Scroll down to Uncertain Transactions. This displays the count of transactions which were neither included nor excluded in the VAT form due to insufficient information about the masters or transaction. A drill down of uncertain transactions displays the summary of exceptions screen with various master and transaction related exceptions. The new VAT experience makes it very easy to resolve any exceptions. Let's select Unable to determine country or state and press Enter. Click Alt-S Set Location. Select the state and save the screen. And that exception is resolved. Let's select the second exception, mismatch in tax amount. This exception can be resolved in any of the four ways. We can accept the transaction without making any corrections. We can exclude this voucher from being considered for returns calculation. We can create an adjustment journal voucher to account for the difference in tax amount, or we can link it to an existing transaction. Click Alt-A, Accept As Is, to accept this transaction without making any corrections, This transaction will be moved to included transactions. Now let's see how a VAT payment can be done right from here. Click Alt-S, Start Payment. Select VAT. Enter the period. And select the type of payment. Select the bank account ledger. Enter the check information and you're done. This also reflects instantly in the Form VAT 100 report under Payment Details.
So we have seen how simple it was to identify missing information and errors, how easily we could provide the information and correct errors, and as a result, get complete confidence that the return is 100% accurate. Imagine a scenario. A businessman finalizes his VAT return. Then, the accountant makes backdated additions or alterations. How will anyone know about such changes? Release 5.0 gives a powerful capability of saving returns. After you save the return, whatever changes are done, they will get reflected in the triangulation report, thereby helping in quickly identifying any necessary action to take. Also, if you accept the changes, you can easily file a revised return. Let us see this in action.
Click F6 Save to save the return. If there are no uncertain transactions, this message appears. Click Yes to save. To demonstrate the flexibility of saving returns when there are any additional transactions or changes in masters, let's create a new VAT transaction. Let's also delete a transaction which was a part of the VAT form return. Click Alt-D Delete. Let's generate the VAT form report. The message, "The return values might have been changed, press F5 to recompute," appears with a new section. The count of purchase and sales ledgers in which tax rates have been modified and the total count of vouchers which were created, altered, cancelled or deleted are displayed. Select any of these rows and press Enter to drill down to the voucher level in alteration mode. Click F5 Recompute. Click F7 Save as Revised. You can choose to resolve exceptions and then save it, or save as is. Let's see the uncertain transaction and resolve its exception. Once the exception is resolved, we can generate the VAT form report again. Click Alt-A Accept As Is and accept the voucher. Click F7 Save as Revised again and save the revised return. Click Return Transaction Book. This report displays the recent instance of an overwrite or save as revised performed on the VAT form return. Click F6 Show All to display all returns including revised ones.
Now, let us see how we should engage with an existing user of Tally.ERP9. First, you must take a backup of his data. Then, you can migrate the data to Release 5.0. After successful migration, a message is displayed. Click on the message to view the Getting Started document. This document tells you the steps to be followed before you start entering fresh data in 5.0. Now, let us see the powerful capability of triangulation, using an existing user's data.
Let's see the VAT Form 100 report. Go to Display, Statutory Reports, VAT. Click Form VAT 100. Let's change the period to the month of April. Click F2 Period. Enter the date range for April and press Enter. In this report, the total count of vouchers displayed for the total number of transactions row is categorized as included, excluded, and uncertain transactions with the voucher count against each of the categories. Included transactions displays the count of all vouchers with complete information in their masters and transactions to comply with the requirements for filing the returns. These vouchers will be a part of VAT and CST forms as applicable. The total count is categorized as annexure ready, annexure errors, and non-annexure vouchers with the voucher count against each of the categories. Annexure ready displays the count of purchase and sales transactions which are a part of VAT annexures that do not have any errors. Annexure errors displays the count of purchase and sales transactions which are a part of the VAT annexures that do have errors in them. The annexure ready and annexure errors rows can be drilled down to the voucher level to display information about each transaction. For vouchers with errors, a drill down will display the annexure error screen where the errors can be rectified. Non-annexure vouchers displays the count of transactions which are included for filing the returns but are not a part of annexures. This row also can be drilled down to the voucher level to display complete information about each transaction and edit any information if necessary. The excluded transactions row displays the count of all vouchers which are not a part of returns. As VAT and CST details are not provided in these transactions, the nature of these transactions means that there will be no implications on forms and annexures. And finally, the uncertain transactions row displays the count of all vouchers with insufficient information. These vouchers do contain VAT or CST related information but are not included in the count of included transactions or excluded transactions. Let's select uncertain transactions and see how to resolve exceptions quickly. Select the exception unable to determine country or state. This displays transactions for which the state or country has not been selected in the party master ledger. Let's select these transactions and click Alt-S Set Location. These are local sales transactions, so let's select Karnataka from the list of states and save the location. As you can see, all the exceptions under this subcategory have been cleared. If an interstate transaction had no information about the party's state, just repeat the same process and select a different state. The report is instantly updated with this resolved exception, and we can see that it's been included under interstate transactions. Drilling down will display the voucher register with the transaction and its tax details. Let's take another example and see how to resolve the exception unable to determine party's dealer type. Selecting this exception displays transactions for which the dealer type has not been selected in the party master. Let's select a dealer and update the dealer type to unregistered. Click Alt-S Set Dealer Type, select Unregistered and save. Select the remaining parties and set their dealer type to regular. Since transactions with regular dealers are taxable, once this exception is resolved, these transactions will be moved to the list of included transactions automatically. The next exception is unable to determine the tax details of the stock group or stock items. This displays stock groups and stock items which do not have a VAT rate defined either at the master or at the company level. All you have to do is select the stock item and click Alt-S Set Rate. You can select multiple items as well. You can update the tax information and resolve this exception directly from the screen. The mismatch in tax amount exception displays transactions in which a difference was detected between the calculated amount and the transaction value. You can select a transaction and click Alt-A Accept As Is to include this transaction without making any changes. You can exclude a transaction by clicking Alt-X Exclude Vouchers. An adjustment entry can be created instantly by clicking Alt-S Create Adjustment. A journal voucher can be recorded to resolve this exception. Lastly, you can also link a transaction to an existing transaction by clicking Alt-L Link Adjustment. Click F12 Configure. You can specify a rupee amount in the round-off margin field to filter vouchers whose tax value has been rounded off to the nearest rupee. You can also filter vouchers based on the kind of exception. This is very helpful if you have many transactions and would like to narrow them down to a specific exception. Select Tax Payments Not Included or Uncertain and press Enter. All tax payment vouchers with insufficient information are displayed here. The count of payment vouchers captured here will appear in the Excluded Transactions row in the main VAT Form 10 screen. Let's see how to resolve the exception unable to determine the payment period or type of tax payment. All payment vouchers recorded with the tax ledger predefined with the tax types VAT, CST or additional tax appear under this exception when the stat payment feature is not used. Select this row and press Enter. Select a voucher and press Enter. You are instantly taken to the voucher alteration screen where you can enter the required information and save the voucher. Once the VAT form return is ready to be printed, click Ctrl-P Print Form. Click Yes. A print preview opens the form in Microsoft Word format.
In a nutshell, Release 5.0 makes tax management simple. Simple to set up. As we saw in the demo, setting up VAT in Tally was simple, and did not take more than a few minutes. There is no configuration required for most businesses. For few businesses, which have a little complex requirement, very minimal configuration is needed. Simple to enter transactions. As already demonstrated, we could enter the first invoice in a few minutes of creating the company. Simple to enter tax adjustment and payment entries. As you saw, it is so simple to enter adjustment and payment entries. Flexible. We can handle any complex requirement in a simple manner, whether it is change in tax rates, or state-based MRP, works contract etc. Very minimal configuration is required. Accurate. Because of minimal configuration, Release 5.0 ensures that minimal errors occur. Triangulation. The powerful triangulation report helps you identify which transactions have been considered for the return, and which have not, because of missing information, thereby helping in generating the right return. Saving returns and revise returns. We saw how a user can save his return, and get visibility of all changes that happen after saving. Also, he is able to revise a return and then file the revised return, all in a simple manner. Direct e-filing of return. Tally is working closely with many departments to support direct e-filing of returns from within Tally. After saving the returns, it can be exported from Tally and directly uploaded in the portal. No third-party tool is required for e-filing of returns. Is there an audit report for altered transactions? The Tally philosophy is that if a user can see what edits or deletes he has done in Tally, then so can someone else, and it can become difficult to explain the genuine reasons why you made these changes to your book of accounts. Therefore, we will still not provide transactional audit. When we save the VAT triangulation report, the report gets saved with the final figures, and also the connected masters and transactions. If the transactions or masters are changed, Tally will be able to point out that there have been changes to those masters and transactions that were part of the saved report. Tally will not be able to say what were the changes. The user will need to identify them manually, and if the changes made require the user to file a revised return, he must do so. How do I rectify errors in the VAT charged? There are many ways to rectify errors in VAT charged. If the VAT report has not been generated, and the customer has not yet filed his return, you could cancel the earlier invoice and make a new one. The difference in the tax can be charged or refunded by a supplementary transaction. Even if the VAT reports have been filed, the law permits cancelled VAT to be adjustable within 6 months. Your auditor will suggest the best method for your case. Tally handles these cases in 5.0. What to do when the government notifies a new VAT rate. Unlike before, in case Tally has not yet sent you an update of the new rate, you can specify the new rate and proceed with your transactions. You do not have to wait for the stat update. Of course, if the VAT return formats have changed, you will need to wait for the stat updates, which will be delivered before they become due to the department. I do not use inventory. Can I get the VAT returns? The VAT computation and features all work even if inventory has not been enabled. Inventory transactions are not being made, and partial inventory and partial accounting vouchers are being recorded. Do I need to create separate sales and VAT ledgers? No. You can have a common sales and a common VAT account. Tally gets into each transaction to generate the VAT returns, and does not take the figures from the ledger balances. I do not have the VAT TIN or CST number at this time. Sometimes you may get the party VAT TIN number later. So Tally will prompt you at transaction entry time to enter the TIN number if it is not specified at the party ledger. You can ignore the message and use the appropriate VAT percent, and add the VAT number later. Thank you.